Chapter 121, 121, Chapter 120, The Evil Eye Region, Controlling Skills. The location is correct. After Su Yang confirmed that his current location matched the location information given by Zhu Ting, he heaved a sigh of relief. Then he checked his surroundings. The sky seemed to always be in a dusky state. He was currently in a desolate plain. All kinds of skeletons were scattered on the plain. At the same time, there were also some undead skeletons wandering around. At this time, a few undead skeletons with incomplete limbs were swaying and wandering not too far away from him. Su Yang glanced at them and saw that they were all level 7 and 8 skeleton monsters, so he didn't bother with them. What he was looking for was a true undead race, not an ordinary undead monster. Only a true undead could gain the ability to resurrect. After some thought, a magic card appeared in Su Yang's hand. This was the character card that sealed Zhu Ting. At the same time, after Zhu Ting was sealed in the magic card, not only was his life and death in his hands, but he was also in control of it. Furthermore, it was a combination of the magic card's sealing ability and the illusory fate attribute. Su Yang was able to extend his ability to hide and make up fates to people he controlled. This way, he would not have to worry about exposing himself because of Zhu Ting or Ling. Master, this is a barren yellow ape. I was born here. The moment Zhu Ting came out and saw the surrounding scene, it said with a reminiscing tone. Su Yang nodded. During this time, he had also learned some information about the undead and the undead race from Zhu Ting. The netherworld was very special. In the realms of heaven, many creatures who had completely died had a chance to be resurrected in the netherworld by awakening their previous life's wisdom. This was also one of the ways the undead race was born. Therefore, the undead clan, which was born in this way, brought many customs to the netherworld. Then they mixed and evolved, forming a very unique and exotic style of the netherworld. The other way for the undead to be born was for the undead to awaken to a new ability. In the great undead world, only the undead with intelligence were recognized as true undead. Zhu Ting, are there any places where the undead gather nearby? Su Yang asked casually. Zhu Ting pondered. She knew that her master had come to the netherworld for the undead race. She didn't know what the undead race meant to his master. However, this was not something she needed to consider. Even if the undead were all killed by her master, what did it have to do with her? Although she looked like a skeleton of the undead race, after awakening his previous life's wisdom, she could not agree with it at all. She had been looking for ways to restore her body. Moreover, since she had already surrendered, she had to show her abilities and use to help her master. Only then would she not be abandoned and forgotten in the future, or even be used as cannon fodder. Zhu Ting, who had the wisdom of her previous life, was very clear about this. Therefore, she quickly recalled the information in the soul fire's memory, and then said, Master, if I remember correctly, there seems to be an undead overlord's territory nearby. You might be able to meet many undead there. After she finished speaking, she looked at Su Yang and continued to explain. Master, the world of the undead is very large, but there are the most of them. In fact, there are many types of undead monsters. Compared to these undead monsters, the number of the undead is very small. If you want to find the undead race, you can only encounter some in the territory of the undead lords. If you want to find more undead, go straight to the territory of those undead overlords. That's the simplest way. Yes. Su Yang nodded and understood what Zhu Ting meant. Then he asked again, "What kind of power does that undead lord have?" Zhu Ting quickly replied, "He's at the level of a golden lord, and he's a dark knight lord. He's extremely powerful." "A golden lord. Just in time, I'll try it out first." The soul fire under the helmet of Su Yang's skeleton flickered, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Following that, under the lead of Zhu Ting, they quickly arrived at the undead territory where the gold-tier Dark Knight was. The scale of the territory looked huge. However, Su Yang looked around and saw that the most numerous things in this undead territory were all kinds of undead monsters. These undead monsters were of a higher level than the ones outside, but they were not the undead he was looking for. He thought for a moment. They maintained the low-profile punishment for the first time in a foreign land. Su Yang did not directly rush into the territory of the Dark Knight Lord. Instead, he brought Zhu Ting and hid in the shadows, lurking in the territory, in an ancient castle where the Dark Knights lived. 12-12-18. Along the way, Su Yang was also silently counting the number of the real undead race in this undead territory. It was indeed as Zhu Ting had said. Compared to the undead monsters, the number of undead was indeed very small. In this undead territory, there were only about 20 real undead that had appeared in his vision. There might be some, but Su Yang estimated that there were at most 30 or 40 of them. "Forget it, I've just entered the netherworld, so it's not bad to be able to get 30 to 40 revivals." However, he didn't walk out of the shadows to kill the undead. To capture the bandits, first capture the king. He would deal with the Dark Knight Lord first, then deal with the undead race. After sneaking into the castle, Su Yang quickly sent a message to find the Dark Knight Lord. This Dark Knight Lord was currently sitting on the main seat in an empty hall of the castle. It looked like he was browsing the forum. In the dark, Su Yang quickly arrived at the Dark Knight Lord's side. As for the Dark Knight Lord, it seemed to have sensed something. Under the pitch-black, imposing helmet, two cold eyes flickered and scanned the surroundings. This should be some kind of detection skill. However, just as he scanned Su Yang's position with his skill, Su Yang, who had turned into the Skeleton King, had already appeared beside it, holding the Heart Slayer. At this moment, the entire blade of Heart Slayer was surrounded by thunder. It was completely different from the normal form of Heart Slayer and the form of the Supreme Divine Flame. Moreover, under the powerful control of Su Yang's thunder and lightning Dharma King, the thunderbolts condensed on the body of Heart Slayer did not make a sound. It was as if it was trembling silently. The Dark Knight Lord saw the figure of Su Yang's Skeleton King and was about to speak, but at the next moment, Heart Slayer was condensed, with the power of thunder had already cut its body. There was nothing much to say, so Su Yang made a move decisively. He directly killed him with one slash. "Don't!" However, the next moment, the Dark Knight Lord revived. However, Su Yang had already expected it and didn't let it speak at all. He slashed down with his knife again and killed it. After this, the Dark Knight Lord did not revive again. Eliminated the Dark Knight Lord, level 64, Undead Race. Acquired special ability, Rebirth +1. Received Dark Paladin Skill Driving. Chapter 122, 122, Chapter 122, Controlling All Things. 60 times of revival. After killing the Dark Knight Lord, not only did he gain the number of times he could be resurrected, unlimited growth talent, and a platinum-grade skill. Su Yang had not expected this. After all, the Dark Knights were only gold rank. he was actually able to steal a platinum-grade skill from it. It seemed that it was considered a powerful character, even among the gold rank. However, controlling, what kind of skill is that? Su Yang thought to himself as he looked at the information on the controlling skill. A control. A level platinum. Type controlling skill. Effect 1. Extremely skilled in controlling. Increases controlling skill by 200%. Effect 2. With sufficient strength, your controlling skills will allow you to control anything in time. Control everything that can be controlled. Is this the skill? Su Yang's eyes flickered. He had a new perspective on how to control this platinum-grade controlling skill. Then he looked at the corpse of the Dark Knight Lord. After plundering it for a while, he put some of the valuable things on its body into his spatial ring. Although Su Yang didn't care about most of its equipment, it was worth at least 4 to 5 million gold coins, or even more. With the attribute of heaven-defying fortune, he would not let go of anything that could bring him gold coins. After all, when he thought about how it would take more than 1 billion to raise a level's condensation to the maximum level. And now he had quite a bit of status. He wanted to have an easier time after he broke through to the platinum grade. Now he was going to start working hard to save money and form a good habit of not wasting money. After killing the Dark Knight Lord, Su Yang then killed the other 46 undead race members in the Dark Knight's territory one by one. Rebirth plus 46. The total number of resurrections had also reached 60. 60 lives. Su Yang, who was in the form of the Skeleton King, sat on the main seat of the castle. He calculated the number of times he had resurrected and was in a good mood. Master in the netherworld, the killing between ordinary gold-tier undead lords will not attract much attention. However, if you were to massacre the other gold undead lords on a large scale, it's very likely that you'll attract the attention of the platinum undead lords, or even the demigod undead lords. Through observation, Zhu Ting basically knew that Su Yang would gain great benefits from killing the undead race. However, it was also because of this that she couldn't help but remind him. "Then, don't worry, I know what you're saying." Su Yang nodded. Of course, he knew what Zhu Ting was saying. At the same time, after he personally entered the netherworld, after obtaining the secret realm of Nirvana Ancient City, the vague idea in his mind gradually became clear. From Su Yang's point of view, if he chose the territories of the other undead lords one by one and killed the undead race, this kind of behavior was both troublesome and stupid. Furthermore, being too high profile did not match the low-key that he had in mind. After obtaining the secret realm of Nirvana Ancient City, and knowing that the undead and undead were mortal enemies, killing each other would bring him unimaginable benefits. Su Yang had an idea. That was to use the secret realm of the Ancient City of Destruction as bait to lure the undead to come over and fight to enter the dungeon. At that time, would he still be afraid that there wouldn't be any undead race for him to kill? However, he still needed to think about how to do this. It just so happened that he would temporarily occupy the territory of the Dark Knight Lord and act as the Undead Lord. In this way, the other undead lords in the outside world would only think that Su Yang killed the Dark Knight Lord to fight for territory. This kind of thing happened almost every day in the vast, undead world. Therefore, it would not attract much attention at all. On the second day, Mal, who always had skeletal wings, suddenly appeared in the former territory of the Dark Knight Lord. He was a silver level 50 skeleton and a real undead. Tyrant, what an arrogant name. The skeleton laughed in a low voice, then flew above the castle and roared. Tyrant, come out. Su Yang had already sensed the skeleton's arrival. He had originally wanted to attack and kill it. However, Zhu Ting stopped him in time and informed him that this skeleton should be the messenger of the demigod-level undead monarch. Su Yang had killed the Dark Knight Lord and occupied this territory. However, if he wanted to become a true undead lord, he had to be recognized by a demigod undead lord. In the great undead world, the true ruler of the Evil Eye region was definitely the god-level undead ruler. However, a god-level undead lord would definitely not manage this region personally. Therefore, the 3 demigod-level undead lords became the managers of this area to help him manage it. In the Evil Eye region, any change in the undead lord would have to be approved by at least one of the 3 demigod undead lords. However, the relationship between the 3 demigod-level undead lords was very bad. Although they were restrained by the god-level undead dominator, they would not fight head-on. However, it was also common for the undead lords under him to exchange cultivation techniques with each other. Therefore, when an undead lord was replaced, the new undead lord would definitely be killed. This skeleton was the messenger of the demigod-level skeleton lord. Previously, the Dark Knight Lord that Su Yang had killed was recognized by the demigod Nightmare Night King. Now that he had killed the Dark Knight Lord, the Nightmare Night King would definitely not approve of him. However, the enemy of the Nightmare Night King, the Skeleton Monarch, would acknowledge him. Moreover, his appearance in the netherworld was that of a Skeleton King, which belonged to the Skeleton clan of the branch of the Undead clan. That was why this skeleton had appeared. After understanding the rules between the undead lords in the undead world, Su Yang temporarily gave up the idea of killing the skeleton. He walked out of the castle. In the sky, the skeleton saw Su Yang walking out and immediately began to teach him. Tyrant, how dare you kill a Dark Knight? He's a subordinate of the Dark Knight King. If you kill it, you will definitely anger Nightmare Night King. Are you very afraid now? However, don't worry, the great skeleton lord has recognized your strength and will protect you. Feel. Damn it, get off my back. However, before the skeleton could finish speaking, Su Yang jumped directly onto its back. With the control skill, he could control this group of skeletons with great familiarity. No matter how hard the skeleton horse shook, it could not shake Su Yang off its back. The skeleton was stunned. It was the skeleton lord's messenger. As long as it was within the Evil Eye army, it would be respected no matter where it went. This was the first time it had been provoked like this. Had this strange skeleton gone crazy? He actually dared to treat it like this. You don't want to live. However, Su Yang didn't think so. He didn't plan to kill it, but he didn't expect that the skeleton horse would be so arrogant in front of him. Thinking of the controlling skill he had just obtained yesterday, Su Yang's hands suddenly itched, and he directly rode on it. It felt pretty good. At the same time, Su Yang had an idea. Perhaps he could use this skeleton to transmit information of the secret realm of Nirvana's ancient city. As the skeleton's sovereign's messenger, the information it sent out was very reliable and could convince the undead race. Thinking of this, it was even more impossible for him to let the skeleton horse go so easily. Riding on a skeleton, after a few rounds in the sky above the territory and consuming most of the skeleton horse's experience, Su Yang stretched out his hand and placed it on the skeleton horse's body. White light flickered, and soon the skeleton horse was sealed into a magic card. Chapter 123, 123, Chapter 123. The generous Undead Tyrant. Master, will you be fine? Zhu Ting couldn't help but worry when he saw Su Yang actually seal the skeleton into the magic card. After all, she knew that the skeleton horse was the messenger of the demigod skeleton monarch. The demigod-level skeleton monarch might have contracted a skeleton horse once. In that case, if Su Yang sealed it into the magic card, it might alert the demigod-level skeleton monarch. "Don't worry, I'm fine." Su Yang chuckled. The moment he had sealed skeleton into the magic card, he had already used void fate to cover up skeleton's fate trajectory. At the same time, on the basis of this, he fabricated a normal fate trajectory. It should not be a problem to hide the strength of the skeleton monarch, which was only at the demigod level. Zhu Ting heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Su Yang's words. As a skeleton mage from the Undead clan, she was naturally afraid of informing the demigod Undead Lord and the godly Undead Dominator of the Evil Eye region. At this time, Su Yang looked at the magic card that sealed the skeleton in his hand. With a wave of his hand, he released it. "God, don't scream." The skeleton came out of the magic card and was about to make a sound when Su Yang's indifferent voice came. He was so frightened that his voice was stuck in his throat. At this time, Skeleton also clearly understood that his life and death were completely in Su Yang's control. It whimpered a few times. He no longer had that arrogant attitude from before. He half knelt in front of Su Yang to show his submission. Looking at Skeleton's attitude, Su Yang nodded in satisfaction. After that, he brought the skeleton to a desolate mountain range within the domain. He placed the ancient city of silence dungeon here. At the same time, use illusory fate to turn the fate trajectory of the secret dungeon in Nirvana Ancient City into a new, unknown secret dungeon. For Su Yang, who had complete control over the secret dungeon of Nirvana Ancient City and the ability to manipulate fate, all of these were easy to do. In this way, even if the god-level undead ruler came to check it out personally, it would be difficult to find anything unusual. The world that was connected to heaven would automatically give birth to a secret dungeon every once in a while for various reasons. This was the rule of the heaven, which gave the world's origin ability. Under these circumstances, as long as Su Yang didn't take the initiative to admit it, he would be the owner of the secret dungeon in the ancient city of silence. Basically, there would not be any powerhouses who would be able to discover the abnormality of the secret dungeon of Nirvana Ancient City. After completing all this, Su Yang and Skeleton explained his request in detail. Spread the information about the secret dungeon of Nirvana Ancient City. Let as many undead race know about it as possible. The more the better. After hearing Su Yang's request, the skeleton was stunned. The dead spirits. And there was an entire city of the dead spirits. Although the dead spirits and undead were mortal enemies. However, the undead could also obtain great benefits from killing dead spirits, and could even increase the potential of the undead themselves. Furthermore, the ancient city of destruction was a large-scale secret dungeon. In other words, if he wanted to, he could consume the source of the secret dungeon to produce more undead. To any undead race, this was an incomparably precious resource. Any gold or platinum undead lord that obtained the secret dungeon of Nirvana Ancient City would hide it well. This could be used as the foundation of the territory, continuously increasing the strength of the territory. It could even be a treasure that could make one stronger. The skeleton horse did not expect its new master to be so bold as to enslave it. Furthermore, he was actually so generous as to take out such a precious secret dungeon like Nirvana Ancient City and place it in the wilderness. Although this wilderness was also in his master's territory, it was too unsafe. However, after thinking about it carefully, Skeleton shuddered. For his new master to release the Nirvana Ancient City's secret dungeon, which was so precious to the undead race, he must have a bigger plan. As for what kind of scheme it was, Skeleton did not dare to continue thinking about it. Master, don't worry. I'll spread the news to the entire Evil Eye region. The skeleton said solemnly. All right. Su Yang nodded. He was looking forward to the moment the news of the secret dungeon in Nirvana Ancient City spread. It would attract a large number of undead professionals. After understanding Su Yang's request, the skeleton flapped its wings and quickly left. Su Yang, on the other hand, looked at the dungeon of the ancient city of silence and started thinking. He was thinking about how he could use the dungeon of the secret realm in Nirvana Ancient City to kill a large number of undead race professionals, while continuing to attract more undead race professionals. This was a question worth considering. Kill half of them each time, keep half, and give some benefits at the same time. Su Yang quickly came up with an idea. Then he shook his head slightly. Half is too much, only 1/3. Forget it, Nirvana Ancient City is such a dangerous place. There's only a 10% chance of survival. I'll just leave 1/10 of it alive. After thinking about it carefully, Su Yang made a decision. At the same time, because he had complete control of the Nirvana dungeon, he could also make some slight changes to some of the rules. Hence, he replaced the gold tier level 60 boss monster in the City Lord's residence in the center of the ancient city of destruction. Under the disguise skill, he mimicked the original undead boss and turned into the undead city's mayor, sitting in the mayor's mansion in the center of the ancient city of destruction. This way, it would be more justified to harvest the undead professionals. Furthermore, with the ability of the multiverse teleportation portal, he could travel between the ancient city of destruction and the Undead Tyrant's territory at any time. For the time being, he had no intention of giving up on the Undead Tyrant's territory. He discovered that in the undead world, the undead lords were actually the ruling class of the undead race. With the identity of an undead lord, it would be more convenient for him to do things in the undead world. A piece of news that could make countless undead excited had suddenly spread throughout the entire Evil Eye region. Even the other regions around the Evil Eye region had heard the news. In an undead territory known as the Undead Tyrant, a new large-scale secret dungeon was born in an ordinary wild mountain. More importantly, this secret dungeon was an ancient city filled with all kinds of undead monsters. The generous Undead Tyrant was actually willing to disclose the newly born secret realm of the ancient city of silence in his territory. Any undead race professional could enter it for free, and the gains obtained in the secret realm would not be taken a single cent. This news immediately caused a huge commotion in the Evil Eye region. Originally, some undead professionals did not believe that the Undead Tyrant would be so generous. However, many undead professionals posted on the Evil Eye region's professional forum and confirmed that the Undead Tyrant was indeed an extremely generous undead lord. The generous Undead Tyrant had really made this silent extinction secret land dungeon completely public. In an instant, All the undead professionals in the Evil Eye region were in an uproar. Chapter 124, 124, Chapter 124. The Swarming Undead Professionals. In the Evil Eye region, there were more than 600 gold undead lords, 17 platinum legendary undead lords, and 3 demigods undead lords. In the territory of the most ordinary gold-ranked undead overlord, there was at least 10 to 20 undead. So there was even more than 100 undead. In the territories of platinum-ranked legendary undead lords, there were basically thousands or even tens of thousands of undead. As for the undead kingdom of the demigod-level undead monarch, there were hundreds of thousands of undead. In addition, there were a large number of free undead scattered everywhere. In fact, there were many undead professionals in the Evil Eye region. However, the Evil Eye region was huge and had many undead monsters. It was rare to encounter the undead clan outside the undead territory. However, after the large-scale secret land dungeon filled with undead monsters was discovered in the Undead Tyrant's territory, the Undead Tyrant's secret land was destroyed. The generous Undead Tyrant Lord even made this secret realm public for free. The undead professionals scattered all over the Evil Eye region swarmed toward the Undead Tyrant's territory. In the past few days, as he observed the undead clan professionals who came for the secret realm of Nirvana ancient city one after another, Su Yang, who was in the form of the Skeleton King, had blue soul fire burning in his eyes. It was extremely exuberant, showing his excitement. In his eyes, this batch of undead clan professionals was the number of times he could be reborn. It would allow him to have enough chances to resurrect and use the coin of destiny. Another batch. This batch has 80 undead clan professionals. Very good. Su Yang sensed the number of undead clan professionals and nodded with a smile. In the past few days, he had killed 3 batches of undead professionals by relying on the dungeon of the secret realm in Nirvana ancient city. He had obtained 230 times of rebirth. That was 230 lives. Su Yang had killed so many monsters and had their attributes, but he had never been as relaxed as he was now. As long as he waited quietly, there would be batches of undead professionals who would come to his door and be killed. This feeling was really great. After noticing that this group of undead clan professionals had set off for the secret realm instance in the ancient city of destruction, a spatial teleportation formation appeared behind Su Yang. He turned around and entered. In the next second, he appeared in the city lord's mansion in the center of the ancient city of destruction. Moreover, he had already become the master of the dead spirit city. Soon, the 80 undead clan professionals entered the secret dungeon of the ancient city of destruction. In the beginning, they killed all the dead spirit monsters along the way and obtained a lot of experience and benefits. Some undead clan professionals found that their potential had increased a lot, and their basic attributes had also increased a lot, so they were extremely excited. However, as time passed, one by one, the undead professionals died in the ancient city of destruction due to their negligence. As for the dead undead clan professionals, the other undead professionals who were still alive would only sigh at their bad luck. Or they thought that it was because he was too weak and overconfident. He had never thought that there would be any other reason. They had no idea that a pair of eyes had been watching them in the dark. Every once in a while, Su Yang would secretly kill an undead clan professional. Furthermore, they had to make it look as if they had been killed by the undead monsters. This group of professionals from the Undead clan was not strong enough, so they did not even manage to enter the inner city. On the way, only 17 of the 80 Undead clan professionals were left. As a last resort, the remaining 17 undead tribesmen chose to retreat. However, in the process of retreating, they were besieged by the undead monsters and lost 9 undead professionals again. In the end, only 8 undead clan professionals left the secret realm of the ancient city of destruction alive. This secret realm is too dangerous. It's indeed dangerous, but it's normal for a large secret realm. Yes, but I've also gained a lot. My strength has increased at least 3 or 4 times after entering the secret realm. Indeed, I've gained a lot. It seems that I'll have to gather more professionals to attack the secret realm in the ancient city of destruction next time. Yes, they actually didn't even manage to kill their way into the inner city. What a pity. The undead professionals were discussing excitedly. They had gained a lot from the ancient city of destruction's secret dungeon. At the same time, they also wanted to obtain more. They were already discussing how to organize more undead clan professionals to come. As for their dead comrades, who cared? Perhaps he would feel sad, but after that, he would be overjoyed by his own gains. Su Yang secretly laughed when he heard their conversation. This group of leaks from the undead clan was really self-aware. She was very considerate of him. Sure enough, every time, letting a group of undead professionals leave alive was more profitable than killing them all. Su Yang's eyes were filled with satisfaction as he watched the team of 8 undead clan professionals leave. After that, he returned to the castle in his territory and waited for the next batch of leaks from the undead clan. Master, it's bad, it's bad. More than 30 lords under Dark Knight King have joined forces and are ready to attack your territory, Master. When Su Yang returned to the castle, the skeleton horse that had just arrived saw him and shouted in panic. What? Su Yang was a little stunned at first, but then he understood. It seemed like the existence of the Nirvana ancient city's secret dungeon had attracted the greedy gazes of other lords. If they wanted to attack his undead territory, their goal must be the secret dungeon of Nirvana ancient city. After understanding this, Su Yang smiled. Didn't this mean that he could kill these undead lords with a legitimate reason? Master, why aren't you panicking at all? The skeleton horse did not know Su Yang's background like Zhu Ting and Ling. Therefore, when he saw that Su Yang didn't panic at all after hearing such news, he was curious. Why should I panic? They came at the right time. If that's the case, I should be fine even if I kill them all in the feudal lord war, right? In the skeleton king form, Su Yang's eyes, which were burning with blue soul fire, glanced at the skeleton horse and said indifferently. The skeleton horse's face had a dazed expression as it looked at Su Yang. It was shocked by its new master's words. That was a group of over 30 undead overlords. Not only was his master not afraid, but he even wanted to kill all of them. This was too valiant. What was his master's background? He was definitely not simple. The skeleton horse thought to itself. However, it also knew that as a servant, it had no right to ask such questions. Chapter 125, 125, Chapter 125. The excited undead professionals. Revenge for Tyrant. They were just a bunch of gold-ranked undead lords. How could Su Yang be afraid of them? Moreover, in his opinion, he was the passive party in this undead overlord war. Therefore, during the process of retaliating, he could perfectly justify and slaughter all the undead lords that wanted to attack his territory. But only 30 or so undead lords. Thinking of this, Su Yang felt that the number of undead lords that had joined forces to attack him was a little small. He could not help but look at the skeleton horse and ask, "Do you have a way to get more undead overlords to join forces and attack my territory?" When the skeleton horse heard this, its entire body trembled. Its master was actually complaining that 30 undead lords were too few. He also wanted more undead lords to join in and attack his territory. This was crazy. However, it didn't dare to ask why. The soul fire in the skeleton horse's head flickered. After thinking for a moment, it whispered, "Master, I can only say that. I'll try my best." "Sure." Su Yang nodded. He also knew that this was a little difficult for the skeleton horse. He didn't say anything more. The skeleton horse quickly left to complete the task Su Yang gave it. Soon, the news of Nightmare Night King's 30 gold-ranked undead lords preparing to attack the Undead Tyrant's territory spread through the entire Evil Eye region. After all, it would be difficult to hide the fact that more than 30 gold-rank undead lords were gathering their forces. Moreover, these undead lords didn't intend to hide at all. They were very confident. In fact, some of the more powerful undead overlords even felt that there were too many of them. That way, after they took down the Undead Tyrant's territory, a lot of the benefits they obtained from the ancient City of Silence's secret dungeon would be taken away. However, they were only thinking about it because the other undead overlords were also quite powerful. Moreover, they all had the figures of platinum-ranked great undead overlords behind them. At the same time, they had also obtained permission from the demigod-level nightmare to control on the king. In fact, in the beginning, with the permission of the Nightmare Night King, hundreds of undead lords all wanted to attack the Undead Tyrant's territory. In the end, after a battle of strength and benefits, only 37 undead lords remained. The other undead lords did not even have the right to attack the Undead Tyrant's territory. Therefore, Su Yang's idea of having more undead lords attack him was temporarily impossible. The news that the 37 undead lords had joined forces to attack the Undead Tyrant's territory had already spread throughout the Evil Eye region. However, the war between lords would not start so soon. Be it communicating with each other or gathering forces, they would all take 2 to 3 days. Hence, in the few days that there was no war between lords, a large number of undead race professionals swarmed into Su Yang's territory. They didn't think that Su Yang would be able to resist the joint attack of 37 undead lords. One day, the Undead Tyrant's territory was attacked by another undead lord. Then, the ancient City of Silence's secret dungeon would definitely be firmly controlled by these undead lords. It would be impossible for ordinary, undead race professionals to have the opportunity to come in contact with this opportunity for free. Therefore, while the generous Undead Tyrant was still alive, he should take the opportunity to explore the ancient City of Silence's secret dungeon. Such a result made Su Yang extremely happy. These few days, he spent most of his time in the ancient City of Silence, grinding his revival count. Killed undead warrior, undead race. Acquired special ability, rebirth +1. Killed a total of 1486 undead. Received rebirth plus 1486. 1486 lives. Su Yang's face lit up. He didn't expect that, after the news, that the other undead lords were about to attack his territory spread. These ordinary, undead race professionals would be so excited that they would rush into his territory in large numbers and come to the secret realm of the ancient city of destruction to die. In less than 2 days, he had increased the number of undying reincarnations to 1486. That was 1486 lives. According to Su Yang's estimation, he would have enough confidence to use the coin of destiny after he had more than 2,000 revivals. Now he was not far from his goal. At that time, he would kill the 37 undead lords and the undead soldiers they led. With more than 2,000 resurrections, he would definitely be able to max it out, or even more. This way, he had achieved his initial goal of entering the netherworld. In that case, even if his identity was exposed or other unexpected situations occurred, he would not have much to worry about. The grey sky in the world of the undead gradually darkened. In the netherworld, there was a difference between day and night. And now, it was almost time to enter the dark night of the netherworld. Today, only 7 undead race professionals were left from the last batch of undead race professionals that entered the secret realm of the ancient city of silence. They walked out of the ancient city of silence alive. Phew, what a pity. I won't have the chance to enter such a good secret realm again in the future. That's right, those undead lords will not be as generous as Lord Tyrant. How I hope Lord Tyrant can defeat all the undead lords that want to besiege him. That's not very likely. Even Lord Tyrant is only gold rank. Looking at the entrance of the secret land in Nirvana Ancient City, the 7 undead professionals were talking to each other in low voices. In the dark, Su Yang, who was about to leave, heard their conversation and smiled. He had heard a lot of such comments these few days. After he appeared in the castle in the Undead Tyrant's territory, Zhu Ting walked over. "They're here again," Su Yang said softly. "Yes, master," Zhu Ting nodded. "Get lost." Su Yang nodded and looked out of the castle. With a low roar, an extremely powerful death aura pressure was emitted from his skeleton king body. Some of the undead outside the castle were so scared that they immediately ran away after hearing Su Yang's voice and feeling the pressure of the dead aura. They were the underlings of the undead lord on the skeleton lord's side. After learning that Su Yang would be attacked by the undead lords under the Nightmare Night King, all of them came to Su Yang with the intention of getting a share of the benefits. They hoped that Su Yang would be able to use the benefits of the secret realm in the ancient city of silence as an exchange. Then they would help him resist the undead lords under the Nightmare Night King, who were about to attack his territory. Su Yang would definitely reject this. However, these undead lords were unwilling to give up and had been bothering him for the past few days. For the time being, Su Yang still wanted to use his identity as an undead lord, so he did not make a move to kill the underlings of the undead lord on the side of the skeleton lord. Tyrant is too overbearing. Does he really think that he, a gold-rank undead lord, can withstand the siege of 37 undead leaders? HMPH, Tyrant is seeking his own death. He actually rejected our proposal. I have an idea. Since the tyrant wants to die, let him die. After he dies, we can use it as a reason for him to take revenge. We can kill our way in and take over this territory. Haha, that's right. Tyrant and we are both under the banner of the skeleton sovereign, so it's not easy for us to make a move. However, if he is killed by the Lord under the Nightmare Night King, we can make a move with a justified reason. Not bad, a good plan. Revenge for the tyrant, good idea, ha. The undead lords under the skeletal lord were furious when they learned that Tyrant had rejected their help. However, an undead overlord's suggestion was quickly met with the unanimous approval of all the undead overlords. They couldn't help but look forward to it. They hoped that the tyrant would be killed quickly. Then they could avenge the tyrant. Chapter 126. 126. Chapter 126. Tyrant got reduced to cannon fodder. As for the thoughts of the undead lords on the side of the skeleton lords, Su Yang had also expected this. However, he didn't care much. For the time being, he was still thinking about how to get enough revivals. He would need to farm at least 3,000 to meet the requirements for using the Coin of Fate. If not for this wave of attacks by the 37 undead lords, under the command of the Nightmare Night King, he relied solely on the attraction of the undead race professionals to the Nirvana Ancient City dungeon. He might need more than half a month to reach around 3,000 times of revival. It took a long time. However, in order not to attract the attention of the god-level undead dominator, this was also the safest method. But now, since these undead overlords had joined forces and wanted to besiege him, he could make use of this opportunity to counterattack. Perhaps he would be able to resurrect around 3,000 times soon. Moreover, the news of the undead overlord forming an allied army to attack his territory had spread. In just 2 days, he had resurrected more than 1,500 times. He had to thank the undead lords for this. Without them, the ordinary undead race professionals would not be in such a hurry to attempt the dungeon of the ancient city of silence. It should be tomorrow. Su Yang sat on the main seat in the castle's main hall. His eyes flickered as he looked at the forum and the information sent by the skeleton horse. He was already very sure that tomorrow, the 37 undead overlord armies under the Nightmare Night King would attack his territory. At the same time, he also learned about the strength of the 37 undead overlords' allied forces. He was especially concerned about the undead race professionals, not including the 37 gold-ranked undead lords. There were more than 1,800 silver-rank undead professionals. This was more than enough for him to raise his revival count to more than 3,000. Apart from that, there was an army of 700,000 silver-tier undead monsters. In the netherworld, the main cannon fodder in a lord's war were these undead monsters that could be controlled. At present, Su Yang's undead territory had an army of 30,000 silver-tier undead monsters left behind by the Dark Knights. However, he didn't like them. Originally, he wanted to turn the 30,000 undead monsters into his own experience. But after thinking about it, he was now an undead lord. If his territory didn't have an army of undead monsters, it would be too different. Moreover, even if 30,000 silver-tier undead monsters were turned into exp, it was not much for his current level. So he left them behind. Maybe I can release them tomorrow. Su Yang couldn't help but think. If I annihilate the undead lords and their army that are besieging me tomorrow, wonder if the platinum-ranked legend will make move. It seems that I won't be able to stay in this netherworld for long. According to a reliable source, the tyrant actually rejected the help of the other undead lords under the skeleton lord. He's too arrogant. Could it be that he thinks that he, an undead overlord, can withstand the attack of all 37 of us? Isn't this great? We can easily take down the undead tyrant's territory. Don't think it's that simple. If it was that simple, would we still need 37 undead lords to form an alliance? The undead tyrant is just a pathetic cannon fodder who doesn't recognize reality. Our true enemy is the undead lords under the skeleton lord after we kill him. This is the real reason why we are united. That's right, our true enemy isn't the Undead Tyrant, it's the Undead Lords under the Skeleton Lords. On the other side, under the banner of the Nightmare Night King, 37 gold-ranked Undead Lords had already formed an alliance and were discussing and analyzing the information they had. From their point of view, the spark of this war was the ancient City of Destruction's secret dungeon that appeared in the Spirit Tyrant's territory. But the real reason was that the Nightmare Night King and the Skeleton Lord, the two demigod Undead Lords, had relied on the Undead Lords under their banner to carry out a Lord war within a controllable range. As for the Undead Tyrant, although he had played a key role in this, he was only cannon fodder, especially since he was so arrogant that he refused the help of the other Undead Lords under the Skeleton Lord. In their eyes, the Undead Tyrant's actions were simply courting death. Skeleton old man, this little guy under your banner is really quite special. He's actually planning to fight 37 Undead Lords of the same level by himself. Should I say that he's courageous or that he's brainless? In the Evil Eye region, in a palace made of bones, a voice suddenly sounded. HMPH, you damned knight. You'll regret it when the time comes. The skeletal monarch, who was sitting on a throne made of skulls, snorted coldly when he heard the voice. After that, he didn't make any more sounds. Regret, I haven't had this feeling in thousands of years. The voice in the air sounded again, but the skeletal lord didn't reply. He immediately felt a little bored and looked away. This guy, it's very special. This form, I seem to have seen it somewhere before. He's definitely not simple. Perhaps this damned knight is going to suffer a great loss. The skeleton sovereign looked at the image of Su Yang's skeleton sovereign form that was sent to him through his subordinates. The soul flames in his eyes flickered as he muttered softly. The next day, Su Yang's Undead Tyrant territory. The undead race professionals who had come for the secret realm of Nirvana Ancient City had already run away after learning that a war between lords would break out today. Outside the Undead Tyrant's territory, they could already see a vast army of undead monsters advancing towards them. At the same time, the Platinum Legend powerhouses, the Demigod Skeleton Monarch, and the Nightmare Night King, who were paying attention to this Lord War, also looked over. In the ancient castle, Su Yang, who was in the form of the Skeleton King, opened his eyes, and the dark blue soul fire burned and flickered. He's here, Su Yang whispered. After that, he held Heart Slayer in his hand, adjusted his body's condition, and waited quietly. He had already put Zhu Ting back into the magic card. After all, she wouldn't be of much help in the upcoming war. At the same time, he had also sent out an army of 30,000 undead monsters to attract the attention of the 37 undead lords. Very quickly, Su Yang sensed that the 30,000 undead monster army that he had sent out had already encountered the 37 undead lords' allied forces, and a battle had broken out. However, there was no real undead professional on his side to command this group of undead monsters. Therefore, they were quickly defeated. They followed his orders and fled toward the castle. Chapter 127, 127, Chapter 127. The god of thunder descends and destroys everything. And just this tyrant person seems to have been born not long ago. He's quite strong, but he didn't ask for help. He's just cannon fodder. The battle between the two lords will be the main event. He looked at the legend-rank undead lords and mocked them. He, old skeleton, I'd like to see how I'll regret this. Nightmare Night King's gaze looked at the place where the skeleton sovereign was and transmitted his voice. HMPH. The skeleton sovereign snorted coldly and did not reply. Then he looked in the direction of the castle and murmured, "Don't tell me, did I make a mistake?" However, at this moment, the 37 undead lords led an army of 700,000 undead monsters and surrounded the castle. All of a sudden, boom! A thunderous voice rang out. A vast sea of lightning suddenly appeared in the sky above the ancient castle. Su Yang, who was in the form of the Skeleton King, stood in the sea of thunder with Heart Slayer in his hand, which was surrounded by thunder. The lightning was completely under his control. At this moment, he was like a king who controlled thousands of lightning bolts. His eyes burned with blue soul flames as he looked down. There were 37 undead lords and over 1,800 undead professionals under them, as well as an army of 700,000 undead monsters. How is that possible? How can a gold-ranked undead overlord be able to use such terrifying lightning power? Tyrant, what kind of existence is he? Not good, these undead overlords are going to die. At this moment, the undead powerhouses were stunned when they saw Su Yang standing in the sea of lightning and controlling the lightning. It was hard for them to imagine that a gold-rank undead lord could actually control such powerful lightning. At the same time, they also understood why Su Yang did not choose to ask for help. It was because he had the confidence to fight alone. Moreover, they realized that these 37 gold-rank undead lords were doomed when they faced Su Yang, who had such strength. Stop! At this time, the legendary undead expert on Nightmare Night King's side wanted to stop Su Yang. However, it was too late. The god of thunder descends. Su Yang said softly. After that, he raised his Heart Slayer, which was surrounded by lightning, and slashed it down at the undead lord and the army of 700,000 undead monsters below. As Heart Slayer was swung, the vast sea of lightning gathered behind Su Yang and instantly burst out along with the lightning blade light that Heart Slayer slashed out. In an instant, 37 undead lords, more than 1,800 undead professionals, and an army of 700,000 undead monsters were enveloped by this terrifying sea of lightning. Under the sea of lightning, all living things were destroyed. Even the 37 powerful gold undead lords were no exception. Killed Zombie Knight level 65, Undead Race. Acquired special ability, Rebirth +1. Acquired Zombie Knight skill, Adaptive Endurance. Acquired 1 layer of killing effect. Acquired 1 layer of killing effect. Tenacity skill combined with Adaptive Endurance, upgraded to Endurance skill, Platinum. Under the Sea of Lightning, the 37 gold-ranked undead lords could only last a little longer than the other undead race professionals and undead monsters. Even though it had the ability to resurrect a few times to save its life, it was quickly exhausted under the continuous bombardment of lightning. In this Lord War, Su Yang was able to take on 1,000 people, which was very suitable for the effect of endless slaughter. As such, as the undead monsters died one by one, the slaughter effect continued to stack. At the same time, the information about Su Yang's forbidden talent, plunder, was also constantly appearing. By following the 37 gold undead lords, he was not in a hurry to obtain the number of resurrections. He could also plunder some skills or attributes. However, the highest level of these skills or attributes that he had obtained was only gold. Moreover, Whether it was the skills or attributes, none of them could make his eyes light up or attract his interest. Some of the effects were even combined with some of Su Yang's original skills or special attribute effects. Under the forbidden talent, these effects would merge together, leaving only one effect. At the same time, some of his skills and attributes were upgraded. It was just like the tenacity skill that he had long ignored. After snatching the adaptive endurance skill, the two passive skills merged and actually advanced into a platinum-grade endurance skill. Endurance passive. Level platinum. Effect 1. In battle, health points and stamina recovery speed is increased by 5 times. Effect 2. After leaving combat mode, health points and stamina recovery speed will be increased tenfold. It was a very good passive recovery skill. Su Yang remembered that the original tenacity skill could only quickly recover his physical state after he left the combat state. But now, after reaching platinum, not only did his recovery speed increase after he left his combat state, but he was also able to recover faster. Furthermore, it could even quickly recover its state during the battle. It had to be said that this improvement was really great. To be able to obtain the passive ability of a platinum-grade state for rapid recovery, Su Yang was also very satisfied. As for the other skills and attributes that he had plundered, they were not of any interest to him. After all, with the improvement of his strength, his scope of vision had also increased. Only skills above platinum might be able to attract his attention. You have killed a total of 3341 undead professionals and obtained special abilities. Rebirth plus 3341. You have accumulated 701,142 layers of killing effect. As the last undead lord died, Su Yang had obtained 3341 rebirths, 3341 lives. With more than 3,000 lives, Su Yang's goal of entering the netherworld could be considered achieved. At the same time, the slaughter effect had reached more than 700,000 layers. At this moment, Su Yang's strength had increased by more than 700,000 times. Of course, due to the disadvantage of the slaughter status, if he stopped killing after 6 minutes, the stacked slaughter effect would rapidly decrease. Su Yang could feel his body getting a 700,000-fold increase in strength. At this moment, he only felt that he was incomparably powerful. However, he did not activate the everlasting effect of the Twilight Ring for the time being. Instead, he wanted to see if there were any more who wanted to die. If there were, he would continue to maintain the killing effect. Chapter 128, 128, Chapter 128. The lightning illuminated the sky. One strike to kill a legend. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Tyrant, a gold-ranked lord with such tyrannical strength. You're not simple. Gold rank, to be able to do this, he's definitely a monster. Up until now, I've only seen a heavenly sun tier existence. That's right. If I hadn't made a calculation and confirmed that Tyrant was an undead, I would have thought that he was Heavenly Sun. If it's not Heavenly Sun, isn't that even better? I didn't expect that our undead race would actually give birth to such a top monster. Ha, that's right, but the Tyrant's appearance, perhaps, it will affect the balance of the Evil Eye region. I wonder what the 3 undead lords will do. Some of the undead lords from the legendary world, who were paying attention to this battle and didn't have much interest in it, looked at Su Yang, who was floating in the air, and said with shock in their eyes. Some of the lords who had a close relationship with this war looked at Su Yang angrily. I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? A legend rank, undead lord, under the command of the Nightmare Night King, appeared in front of Su Yang in a flash. His eyes were cold as he spoke indifferently. This was an undead knight whose entire body was burning with flames. He was riding on a war horse that was also burning with flames, and he held a black knight's spear that was burning with flames. It was also shocked when it saw Su Yang controlling the lightning. But then its eyes were filled with endless killing intent. Because it realized that the existence of a monster like Su Yang was a threat, it wanted to take the initiative to eliminate him on behalf of its monarch. After all, in the eyes of many undead lords, Su Yang was now relying on the skeleton lord. In the face of this legendary knight's cold words, Su Yang's indifferent eyes swept over. The soul fire in his eyes flickered. He didn't expect that there would really be people who continued to seek death. Now he had resurrected more than 3,000 times, and he had achieved his goal in the netherworld. He could do whatever he wanted now. Previously, Su Yang was worried that he would attract the attention of demigod-level or even god-level undead powerhouses by wantonly killing the undead. Once he attracted the attention of these powerhouses, it would be difficult for him to continue killing the undead race and accumulate a number of resurrections. At that time, if his identity was exposed, it would be even more troublesome. He might even attract more god-level powerhouses to attack him. But now, since the number of revivals had reached a satisfactory level, there was no need to care about this anymore. Of course, it would be best if his true identity was not exposed. "You want to die too?" Su Yang indifferently looked at the undead knight in front of him. "Such great courage. It seems like you've been blinded by your current strength. Then let me teach you a lesson." The undead knight that was burning in flames suddenly laughed. It had achieved its goal. In this situation, Su Yang was provoking it. Since Su Yang provoked it, even if he killed it, there would be no problem. Even the skeleton sovereign had nothing to say. Moreover, its master, the Nightmare Night King, would protect it. Tyrant actually dares to challenge a legendary existence. It seems like he's very confident in his strength after killing so many undead lords. HMPH, killing hundreds of thousands of soldiers at once, we can do it too. However, Tyrant is able to reach this level at gold rank. He does have some potential. Sure enough, just as I thought, the legend on the Nightmare Night King's side wants to destroy him. Even if the Tyrant doesn't provoke it, it will probably find other reasons to attack. AI, the infighting in our undead realm is too fierce. Even a genius like him would have some difficulties in growing up smoothly. Some legends who had no interest in this side when they saw this. "You damn guy, you want to stop me." On the other side, the skeleton sovereign saw this scene and wanted to make a move, but the Nightmare Night King appeared beside him and stopped him. "Don't be so excited. I'm just taking a picture for your status. You don't want another demigod undead of the skeleton race, do you? Besides, this is their business. We can just watch from here." Nightmare Night King sat on his warhorse and said in a calm tone. The skeleton sovereign stared at the Nightmare Night King, wanting to attack. "Old skeleton, you have to think this through. Are you really going to make a move for an unrelated fellow?" "Of course, I don't mind exchanging a few moves with you," Nightmare Night King said fearlessly before he prepared. The soul fire in the skeletal sovereign's eyes flickered twice. In the end, it didn't make a move. Instead, it looked in Su Yang's direction. With one look, he found that there was something wrong with Su Yang's body. After carefully feeling it, he couldn't help but smile and look at the Nightmare Night King. After the Nightmare Night King noticed the abnormality of the Skeleton King, He followed its gaze and also found a change in Su Yang's strength. His expression changed, and he was about to attack. You were just advising me not to worry. This is their business." But at this time, the skeleton monarch took the initiative to stop the Nightmare Night King and said with a smile. Nightmare Night King's face immediately darkened. It was because he had missed the best moment. At Su Yang's side, when this undead knight from the legendary realm rode his warhorse and held a knight's spear, he charged towards him with a terrifying aura. He slowly raised the thunderous heart slash and slashed it in the direction of the legendary undead knight. The blade that he had swung out did not seem to have much power. However, with more than 700,000 layers of slaughter effects, the killing power was sufficient. In an instant, lightning flashed across the sky. It instantly lit up the entire sky. And this legendary undead knight also died. Even after killing the undead knight in the legendary stage, the power of the blade light did not decrease and continued to shoot into the sky. Suddenly, the ground cracked and the sky shattered. At this moment, everyone's eyes were lit up by the overbearing lightning. Chapter 129, 129, Chapter 129. The Ruthless Tyrant. This attack. Is Tyrant really only at gold rank? It should be some kind of ability that increases one's strength. However, this increase is too terrifying. Indeed, this was too ridiculous. With the Tyrant's own strength, he can now be treated as a powerhouse of the same status as us. After the flash of the blade, he looked at the legendary undead here and was shocked into silence. Then all kinds of exclamations sounded. Some powerhouses could guess the reason behind Tyrant's sudden increase in strength, but they could not tell the exact details. This Tyrant, the soul fire in the Nightmare Night King's eyes jumped under the dark gold knight's helmet. He actually felt a trace of danger from Su Yang's knife. He was a demigod-level undead lord, while Tyrant was only a gold-rank undead lord of the skeleton race. The difference in strength between them could be said to be extremely great. With such a difference in power, he could easily crush a gold-rank undead lord like Tyrant with a raise of his hand. As for the Tyrant, there was absolutely no possibility of hurting him. But now, he actually felt a sense of danger from Tyrant. He could clearly feel the terrifying power contained in the blade light that illuminated the sky. It could really hurt him. An attack-enhancing skill or talent. What a terrifying ability! The experienced demigod Nightmare Night King observed carefully. Thinking back to the 700,000 undead monster army that had been slaughtered by the Tyrant, he could roughly guess. How did Su Yang obtain such a power that was far beyond his level and could even threaten him, a demigod? It was obvious that he had obtained this temporary increase in strength through killing. However, he could not deny the strength he had gained through this method. On the contrary, it was easier to be valued. This was because Su Yang's killing amplification type energy level, which had no restrictions and could be improved infinitely, was too rare. Even as a demigod undead lord, he did not have one. At this moment, Nightmare Night King's eyes grew even colder. He wanted to take action personally and kill all of this in the cradle. The skeleton sovereign seemed to have sensed Nightmare Night King's thoughts and was ready. Once Nightmare Night King made a move, it would immediately attack. Old skeleton, did you feel that attack just now? You'd better think it through. If you don't act now, a new demigod-level undead king will definitely be born in the future. By then, your position is about to be lost. Nightmare Night King turned his head to look at the skeleton sovereign, his voice indifferent. This is the internal affairs of the skeleton race. There's no need for you to blindly worry. The skeleton sovereign looked at Nightmare Night King and said indifferently, looking at the skeleton sovereign that was about to stop him. Nightmare Night King knew that it was impossible for him to kill Tyrant in front of the skeleton sovereign. However, he was a little confused about why the skeleton lord would protect an unfamiliar undead of the skeleton clan. He had been fighting with the skeleton lord for thousands of years, so he knew how sinister the skeleton lord was. Just as the two demigod undead lords were confronting each other, the undead knight that was killed by Su Yang was resurrected with the help of a resurrection tool. His face was filled with fear and disbelief. It was afraid. It did not expect the tyrant's strength to be so terrifying. He was only at the gold rank, but he was able to kill a platinum rank legendary undead knight with one strike. If it had known earlier, it wouldn't have made a move. Don't. However, just as it was resurrected with a face full of lingering fear, it had yet to react. Another blade light with lightning came slashing over. It wanted to surrender and stop fighting. But unfortunately, Su Yang had no intention of leaving it a way out. Ever since his strength had reached gold rank, the enemies he had encountered had become stronger and stronger, and they basically all had resurrection and life-saving items. Therefore, Su Yang had long given up on the idea of killing his enemies in one strike. As long as he didn't see any information about the plundering of talents, he wouldn't stop attacking. 2 consecutive attacks. The entire sky was covered in lightning. Countless legendary undead powerhouses who were looking over were already numb after seeing the 2 consecutive terrifying attacks. At the same time, he also had a certain understanding of the tyrant's ruthlessness. This was an oath that he wouldn't stop until he killed the enemy. A moment ago, a few legendary powerhouses on Nightmare Night King's side wanted to make a move and save this undead knight. But now, the moment it died, it ran far away and didn't dare to appear again. They were also frightened by Tyrant's methods. They were afraid that they would be targeted by the Tyrant if they followed suit. At that time, it would really be a fight to the death. Who could stand this? After the 2 attacks, the burning legendary undead knight never resurrected again. At the same time, Su Yang's talent plunder information was refreshed. Kill Will-O-Wisp Undead Race, Platinum. Acquired Special Ability, Rebirth +1. Acquired Will-O-Wisp Skill Reunion Trap, Platinum. Charge into the enemy lines. Platinum grade, the knight's charging skill, it doesn't have much effect. Su Yang glanced at the platinum grade charging skill that he had just obtained. This was completely out of his style. Therefore, he only took a quick glance and didn't pay much attention to it. In a flash, he appeared on the dead undead knight's corpse and quickly searched it. He received a platinum-grade plate armor, a few pieces of common gold equipment. There was also a skull-shaped spatial ring. There were more than 60 million gold coins inside. Looking at these gold coins, Su Yang's mouth revealed a smile. Sure enough, a legendary master. Even the dead people in the world of the undead are very rich. After putting the equipment from the legendary undead knight into his space ring, Su Yang nodded with satisfaction. Then he floated in the air and looked around. Let's see if there are any more who come to seek death. He could sense the gazes from all around him. After waiting for a while, no more undead powerhouses appeared. Su Yang could feel that the 700,000 slaughter debuffs stacked on him were about to run out and decrease. No, I haven't experienced the 700,000-fold increase in strength yet. Su Yang was a little unwilling. He looked at the ring of dusk on the skeleton's finger. He really wanted to use the eternal dusk effect to extend his time by 2 hours. He thought about it. Su Yang still secretly activated the eternal dusk effect for himself. At the same time, he used his illusory fate attribute to create an illusion that his state was rapidly decreasing. Moreover, this state of decline seemed to have a side effect. After completing the fabrication of the trajectory of fate, Su Yang's aura quickly withered in his skeleton form, and the vigorous soul fire in his eyes also shrank a lot. Chapter 130, 130 Chapter 130, The Arrival of the Demigod-level Powerhouses. Who's stronger, Tyrant or Heavenly Son? 130 Chapter 130, The Arrival of the Demigod-level Powerhouses. Who's stronger, Tyrant or Heavenly Son? The Tyrant's condition is not right. It seems like the ability he used has a very negative effect. I can feel that the Tyrant's strength seems to be decreasing rapidly. Should I make a move? Why don't you go and test it out first? The surrounding legendary powerhouses of the undead race noticed Su Yang's situation and spoke hesitantly. Just as the two legendary undead powerhouses on Nightmare Night King's side wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to test Su Yang. Nightmare Night King's figure appeared in front of them and said indifferently, "Let's go back." Then his eyes swept to the place where Su Yang was not far away. His soul flame flickered unconsciously under his dark golden helmet. "Skeleton Sovereign, so this is what you're planning, Tyrant he. On the other side, just as Su Yang appeared to be in a weak state, trying to lure the remaining enemies to attack, the Skeleton Lord appeared beside him. He noticed the sudden appearance of the undead tribe's skeleton powerhouse. In the form of the Skeleton King, the soul fire in Su Yang's eyes suddenly shrank. He felt a sense of oppression from the skeleton powerhouse of the undead clan. He had never encountered this before. "Demigod," Su Yang murmured in his heart. He recognized the identity of the undead skeleton clan powerhouse who had appeared in front of him. He was one of the 3 demigod undead lords in the Evil Eye region, the Skeleton Lord. Originally, Su Yang had wanted to pretend to be in a weak state, after using his enhancement skill to see if he could lure a few more legendary undead experts. He didn't expect that the legendary undead wouldn't appear. Instead, a demigod-level skeleton lord had come. This situation was somewhat unexpected. However, Su Yang had already considered the possibility of such a situation, as long as his true identity was not exposed. In that case, all the problems would not be problems. Before that, through various sources of information on skeleton, Su Yang already knew that the essence of this Lord War was actually a battle between the Skeleton Lord and the Nightmare Night King, and he just happened to become the fuse between the two. Therefore, whether it was the Skeleton Sovereign or the Nightmare Night King, they would definitely pay attention to this Overlord War, and the powerful strength that he displayed in the form of the Skeleton King would definitely attract their attention. Su Yang was very clear about this. Therefore, he was not too nervous when he saw the Skeleton Monarch. "With the strength I've displayed, will the Skeleton Lord try to rope me in or kill me?" At this moment, looking at the Skeleton Monarch in front of him, Su Yang couldn't help but think, "A tyrant. Ha, it's great that the Skeleton Clan could give birth to a monster like you." The Skeleton Sovereign looked at Su Yang, who was in the form of the Skeleton Sovereign, and the soul fire in its eyes had an unknown meaning. However, this extra thought was quickly put away by him. Then, a happy smile appeared on his skeleton face as he said to Su Yang. Su Yang silently looked at the skeleton lord, who was praising him. With his high vigilance, he could feel that although the skeletal monarch seemed to be praising him, it seemed to be plotting something against him. He felt the 700,000 layers of slaughter effect on his body. He quickly checked the 52 divinity points he had accumulated and felt very confident. Even if the skeleton sovereign had other plans for him, he had enough confidence to deal with it. Moreover, he also had the myriad world teleportation portal, which allowed him to leave this place at any time. This is not the place to talk. Let's go. I'll take you to a place that is very suitable for our skeleton race to cultivate. With your talent, your strength will definitely increase faster. Consider it a reward for your victory in the Overlord War. The skeleton sovereign looked at Su Yang, who didn't respond to his praise. After thinking for a moment, it realized that he didn't give him any decent benefits or rewards. He put his skeletal hand on Su Yang's shoulder and said, looking at the skeletal hand on his shoulder, Su Yang narrowed his eyes. Why did he feel that this guy seemed to want to take him away as soon as possible? After some thought, he didn't use his overlord body to resist this power. He also wanted to see what this skeleton monarch was up to. What were the benefits and rewards he was talking about? Following the skeleton lord's power, Su Yang and the skeleton lord's figures disappeared from their spots. Tusk, the tyrant is so lucky to be appreciated by the skeleton lord. I didn't expect that the skeleton sovereign would personally appear for the tyrant. This was a good thing. With the skeleton lord's protection, tyrant will be able to grow smoothly. It wasn't easy for our undead clan to give birth to a monstrous existence. If he can grow up smoothly, he definitely won't be weaker than Tian Yang. Although the tyrant's performance is also very freakish, there's a huge flaw in his skill enhancement. I feel that Heavenly Sun is more terrifying. That scene in the Fate arena really shocked me. In front of Tian Yang, even a legend is nothing. The holy language of the wizard clan, that's a high-ranked legend, an existence that's about to break through to the demigod realm, and it was actually killed by Heavenly Sun's blade. It's terrifying. Tyrant can't compare to Heavenly Sun in this aspect. That's for sure. Heavenly Sun is an advanced mythical tier, while Tyrant is at most an advanced overlord tier. There must be some difference between the two. Seeing Su Yang being taken away by the skeleton sovereign, the legendary undead experts couldn't help but envy him. At the same time, some of the undead powerhouses could not help but compare Tyrant with Sky Sun, which immediately led to a bigger discussion. Tyrant, the Skeleton King. I didn't expect that there would be such an existence in the skeleton clan. This old man's skeleton might have hope of becoming a god this time. Do you want to go over and cause some destruction? Nightmare Night King looked in the direction where Su Yang and the skeleton sovereign disappeared. The soul fire under the dark gold knight helmet flickered as he thought to himself. Su Yang, who was being carried by the skeleton sovereign, felt his vision go black. After his vision was restored, he saw a gray sky, and the ground was covered with the remains of various creatures. At the same time, Su Yang could clearly feel a special energy in the surrounding air. You have entered a demigod kingdom. That's a wrap for this installment. Thank you all for watching and supporting Lord of the Stories. If you enjoyed this tale, please hit the like button, share it, and subscribe for more amazing stories. You can also explore other series updated daily in our playlists. Have a fantastic day and see you in the next episode.